안녕하세요. 교포차십니다. I'm Rachel and I will be your host for today's video. Today we are going to go through email etiquette. Now I am going to speak fully in English in this video, but we are going to add Korean subtitles, so any listener is welcome to listen in. Do you do business internationally, or do you have reasons to speak professionally internationally? Email is a critical communication tool. And if you say something wrong or if you make wrong comments, it could do some damage. So in this video today, we are going to discuss formatting an email. We're going to discuss addressing the recipient, how to structure the body of the email, and how to sign off. And we will also go over the example email. We're going to start today by how to address the email. So if you are emailing someone directly and no other parties are involved, just keep that person in the to section. If you're speaking with a team member, but a manager or director or a secondary person needs to be involved or across the email chain, then include them in the CC. Try to remain consistent with this. Don't take them in and out of the email chain. If they need to stay involved, they should see the full email chain. BCC, I would generally avoid using because it is impolite to not be clear on who this email is disclosed to. But if you are sending it to your secondary email or you're instructed by someone else to BCC someone, then use this part. With the subject line, keep it clear, concise, and short, and to the point. If you are further discussing on the same topic, try to reply to the relevant email chain instead of starting a new email chain. So a reply subject should look like RE and then the original subject line. We start writing the email with the obvious greeting. Your email should always start with a dear, hello, and hi. Then we figure out how to address the recipient. We start with addressing someone with a title or prefix. If we want to address someone formally, so this is usually used when it's a client, it's someone you don't know well, it's your first time speaking with them, or you haven't worked with them frequently enough, we do Dr., Mr., Ms., Miss, and their last name. Some people do ask what is the difference between Ms. and Miss. Ms. MS is a neutral title used regardless of a woman's marital status. Miss is a title used for an unmarried woman or a young girl. The one with MS is most commonly used and actually is the safest option. I personally feel like this is also more professional because it steers away from the personal statuses. Then our next option is Dr., Mr., Ms., Miss, and the first name. This is kind of formal but not formal, so we'll call it semi-formal. If you want to be formal but a little bit less, you just address them with the Mr. and Ms. And then their first name. Usually this is when you have worked with someone but want to keep them like as a client relationship, or not fully familiar yet but have frequently spoken, or they have asked you to call them by their first name. You can also do dear, hi, hello, and a first name. If you're addressing someone by their first name, it's usually because you are in a close working relationship, like a colleague, or they've got a company culture where they are pretty casual, or your company is very casual. A tip is it is always best to follow the recipient's lead unless you want to remain formal or semi-formal. You can also see how they sign off their email or how they address you to figure out how you should address them. Now let's move on to the body of the email and context. Let's first acknowledge the email and the recipient by a simple greeting like, I hope this email finds you well. I hope you had a nice weekend if you are sending an email on a Monday. We will go through in another video general phrases in emails that you should be using, so check back in on our channel. If it's a long email that you are going to be writing, use bullet points, bold text, headings to structure the email, because if there is a lot of information, it can be overwhelming to take in, so you want to make it easy for them to understand the email. So you would start with obviously the introduction and the topic of discussion, and then bullet point the areas you want to discuss and specific updates that need to be taken, and then close the email with the next action to be taken, or thank them for reviewing the email. When you are closing an email in Korea, there aren't really sign off words, and we sign off by using phrases instead, like 감사합니다 or 즐거운 하루 되세요 or 언제든지 연락 주세요. But in English, we use phrases like that, and then we have a sign off. So we use words like sincerely, your name, or kind regards, best regards. So don't forget that part. So now let's review what an example email will look like. In this email, we start with a semi-formal addressing. So, hi, Mr. Henry as the first name. I hope this email finds you well. So we acknowledge the recipient. And the purpose of the email is I am writing to you to provide you with an update on the progress of the energy project. Now, because this is going to be a long email, we structure it with bullet points and bold lettering per topic. So as you can see here, we have 5 topics we're going to discuss, like updates on milestone 1, 2, updates on budget, timeline, and then the next steps. So we have our call to action here. As we close the email, we address what we have provided them, and we say if you have any questions or concerns, we contact us. So that kind of closes it as now the ball is in your court. So to summarize today's points on formatting an email, we, 1, make sure to continue conversation on one email chain and keep original recipients. 2, how to address the recipient. So Mr., Ms. last name is formal, Mr., Ms. first name is semi-formal, and first name is close working relationship. Then on our 3rd point, we soften the start of our email with a greeting, and we also close our email with a greeting or an action point. Long emails, we are always going to use bullet points, bold, to help the reader structure the email or absorb the information more efficiently, and our sign off. Remember that the goal of an email is to communicate your message effectively and efficiently and to be engaging. Try to have them understand and appreciate your message. Thank you for joining us for today's email formatting, and let's discuss further in our next video what phrases to say in your email. If you guys have any topics you want us to talk about or have any questions, send us an email at hello@gyopochat.com. And before we wrap up, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below.